How you doing? I'm Dennis Elliott. This is the Papa Dennis Show, and welcome you to the program today. It is Thursday, October 29th. We've only got 6 days before the election coming up next Tuesday. Have you voted yet? Lots of people have. The number of people that have voted is just astounding in North Carolina and all across the country. And if you haven't voted yet, hurry up and get on the bandwagon, okay? Join everyone else that has already done this. In North Carolina, you'll be able to vote today, tomorrow, which is Friday, and again on Saturday, the 31st. Now, if you don't vote, early vote by Saturday, the 31st, you'll have to wait until next Tuesday, November 3rd, to cast your ballot. But that's perfectly okay. If you've got a mail-in ballot, don't put it in the mail, okay? Take it and drop it off at an early voting site or at the County Board of Elections office, wherever you happen to live, but don't put it in the mail. It is too late to get that in the mail, okay? Don't chance it. Make sure you have filled out everything correctly, but don't put it in the mail. Take it to the Board of Elections office or take it to an early voting site and drop it off. You have to take it inside and give it to an official inside, but you don't have to stand in line at the early voting site if you have a mail-in ballot and you want to drop it off. All right, so get that done. We'll talk about North Carolina stats as far as how many people have early voted and the difference between Democrats and Republicans in the amount of ballots received coming up in a few minutes. But first, I wanted to talk about Tucker Carlson on Fox News. I don't watch Tucker Carlson show. I don't watch Fox News. I can't. There's no way I could ever sit through that without my head exploding, okay? And I prefer a head in one piece. So I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch Tucker Carlson, but I read about them. I read about things that they talk about, things that they do. And yesterday, I talked some about the Hunter Biden story and how it's just a nothing burger. It has the White House gave these documents supposedly about Hunter Biden and his laptop and all of that. You've heard all of that. To the Wall Street Journal several weeks ago, hoping that the Wall Street Journal would write a big expose about this and and have it show that Vice President Biden was involved in some sort of nefarious scheme to get money from the Chinese, Ukrainians, just sort of muddy the waters, but they couldn't find anything. The Wall Street Journal looked at the whole thing, couldn't come up with anything, couldn't validate any of the allegations. In fact, what they did validate was that Vice President Biden didn't do anything wrong. All right, so they didn't do anything. That frustrated the White House to no end. So they shopped the story to the New York Post, which is another conservative newspaper, but without the scruples of the Wall Street Journal news organization. And of course, the New York Post ran with all sorts of things that haven't been validated, cannot be validated. It's a nothing burger. It's why the story hasn't gone anywhere. It's why no mainstream news organization will touch the story, because there's nothing to it. But of course, Fox News, Tucker Carlson, they're all over it. And yesterday, Tucker Carlson did a piece about how he had received some secret documents that would blow the lid off of the Hunter Biden story and Vice President Biden, but they disappeared. The documents disappeared. He had them. They had them in their possession in Washington, and they sent them via a package company to Los Angeles. And mysteriously, they didn't make copies of it. That is so weird. Let's look at this and look at this. Tucker Carlson reports he lost only copy of documents that nail Biden. Again, he didn't make a copy of them. As it says, the Trump campaign and its right-wing media messengers have devoted the final stretch of the election to insisting they had uncovered proof of deep corruption by the Biden family, along with demands that the mainstream media cover their allegations. But of course, as I explained, there's nothing to them, so the mainstream media has been ignoring it. Several fishy aspects to the accusations, however, for one, incriminating information supposedly located on a Hunter Biden laptop left in a Delaware computer shop had in fact been circulating in Ukraine well before it was reportedly turned over to Rudy Giuliani's lawyer. Over the weekend, Time reported that the Hunter Biden emails and photos were being shopped in Kiev last fall by somebody who wanted to sell it to Republican allies of President Trump. Several days later, Politico reported the Hunter Biden laptop material was being shopped around by a Ukrainian oligarch looking for help with a potential legal jam as early as spring of 2019. Another oddity in the timing is that the star witness for Fox News and Trump, this Tony Bobulinski that you've probably been hearing about over the past few days, claimed he only came forward because he was outraged, just outraged at the response to the New York Post story, first reporting the email hacks. But Ben Smith reported in the New York Times that Bobulinski was working with Trump's campaign to pitch the story to the Wall Street Journal, as I told you earlier, before they settled for giving it to the New York Post. The Journal duly reported they had no evidence of wrongdoing by Joe Biden. On Wednesday night show last night, Tucker Carlson reported that his team had acquired incriminating documents. However, they sent them from Washington to Los Angeles, and the documents disappeared. And they neglected to make any copies. Who does that? So now the only copy of the documents that would nail the probable next president of the United States are gone. Let me play this right here. This is just a couple of minutes, 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Tucker Carlson last night on his show. Let me play this for you.
Tell you about. So on Monday of this week, we received from a source a collection of confidential documents related to the Biden family. We believe those documents are authentic, they're real, and they're damning. At the time we received them, my executive producer...
Let me pause here for just a second. The source that he got them from, they didn't keep a copy of them either. They sent the only copy to Tucker Carlson. Who does that? All right, let me continue.
Producer Justin Wells and I were in Los Angeles preparing to interview Tony Bobulinski about the Biden's business dealings in China, Ukraine, and other countries. So we texted a producer in New York and we asked him to send those documents to us in LA, and he did that. So Monday afternoon of this week, he shipped those documents overnight to California with a large national carrier, a brand name company that we've used, you've used countless times with never a single problem. But the Biden documents never arrived in Los Angeles. Tuesday morning, we received word from the shipping company that our package had been opened and the contents were missing.
Let me pause this here for just a second. So he's implying here, he hasn't come out and said it, and he never does actually come out and say it, but he is implying here that some nefarious scheme swooped in, got these documents, and took them out. And of course, again, they didn't make a copy of them. Why would they mail them anyway? Why would they send them anyway? Why not just scan the documents and then send the electronic file? Again, it makes no sense whatsoever. Let's continue.
Documents had disappeared. Now, to its credit, the company took this very seriously and immediately began a search. They traced the envelope from the moment our producers dropped it off in Manhattan on Monday all the way to 3:44 a.m. yesterday morning. That's when an employee at a sorting facility in another state noticed that our package was open and empty. Apparently, it had been opened. So the company's security team interviewed every one of its employees who touched the envelope we sent. They searched the plane and the trucks that carried it. They went through the office in New York where our producer dropped that package off. They combed the entire cavernous sorting facility.
All right, let me pause it here. Have you ever had a package lost that you sent through a carrier and you reported it? Did they do anything like that? Did they conduct a search for your package the way he is saying that they did this particular package? Again, this doesn't add up. None of this, not any part of this story adds up at all. Most carriers are going to say, all right, we'll try to check, see if we can find your package, and we'll let you know. But according to Tucker Carlson, they did everything possible. They interviewed everybody. They searched the entire facility. Give me a break. I don't know of any organizations that's going to do something like that. Let's continue here.
They used pictures of what we had sent so that searchers would know what to look for. They went far and beyond, but they found nothing. Those documents have vanished. As of tonight, the company has no idea and no working theory even about what happened to this trove of materials, documents that are directly relevant to the presidential campaign just 6 days from now. We spoke to executives at that company a few hours ago. They seemed baffled and deeply bothered by this, and so are we.
I'm baffled. All right. That's what he said. None of this adds up, okay? This is all bullshit, all right? And he's being he is being laughed at on Twitter and social media about this. Said, be a better story if the dog ate the damn papers. Oh, this one's good. Said, did you check underneath Trump's health care plan? Do you believe this? Who would do something like this and not make a copy of these documents? All right. Now we get to this point, an update on the story. All right. And this is going to be interesting to see if anything happens. You notice he never names the company. He never says who it was that lost the documents. Turns out it was UPS. All right. And UPS says they have found this mystery Tucker Carlson package. A spokesman for UPS told the Daily Beast today that they had located a mysterious package that Fox News host Tucker Carlson suggested had been deliberately misplaced or intercepted because it contained damning materials on the Biden family. Said, we have found the contents of the package arranging for its return. UPS will always focus first on our customers and will never stop working to sell, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they have found the package. Now it's going to be interesting to see if these documents, what is Tucker Carlson going to do now, huh? But why, if you had documents that were this important, that the entire election would hinge on it, that you wouldn't make a copy of it before you sent it? Nobody does that, all right? So a lot of this story just doesn't add up. And it's because the whole thing's bullshit anyway, all right? The Hunter Biden thing, everything, all of it is just a bunch of bullshit. So wanted to bring that up and talk to you about that. All right, what else we got going on? Texas and early voting. Listen to some of these statistics here. More people have voted already in Texas than voted in total in 46 states in 2016. And this is from a few days ago. This is from the 26th right here, October 26th. We are at October 29th now. So it's way and above that. It's possible, maybe even likely, that the state will match its total 2016 turnout before Election Day. I think that's a real possibility. So This is amazing, the number of people that are voting in Texas. Now, think about this. Trump won Texas in 2016 by what? A single digit margin. So what does all of this huge amount of early voting that's taking place in Texas mean? This could mean Texas is going to flip. This could mean Texas is going to go for Joe Biden. It would be a miracle if it happened. It would be an amazing thing if it happened. But it's a real possibility. Back in early 2019, it was already apparent that Texas might be more of a problem for Trump than it was in 2016. He didn't romp in the state that year, but he won by enough of a margin that there wasn't much mystery on the night of the election. So much attention was focused on his surprise victory nationally, though, that his having won Texas by just a single-digit margin passed without notice. Texas was closer in 2016 than Iowa was, which is a significant shift in presidential politics. At the beginning of last year, Texas stood out as the red state in which Trump's approval rating was the lowest. And then as the 2020 general election grew firmer, it became clear that Texas was, in fact, a potential problem for the incumbent president. In 538's polling average, Texas has consistently been one of the closest states in recent weeks. As recently as last Friday, the state saw the smallest margin between Trump's polling average and former Vice President Joe Biden, still within a point. So this is significant right here. As a percentage of 2016 votes, blue states are often seeing higher early voting are often seeing higher early vote turnout than red states, according to Associated Press data analyzed by the Post. But the states with the highest turnout to date relative to 4 years ago are mostly the ones that went for Trump, usually ones in which the presidential contest is close or with a contested Senate race. North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Texas are all among the states that have seen the highest percentage of early votes relative to 2016 turnout. So this could be very significant in Texas. This was a pretty good article right here. Let's look at early voting statistics. We do this whenever we do this. Last report through yesterday. Total voted in North Carolina, 3,867,846. See, Guilford County, we're at 52.8% of people that have voted in Guilford County. Probably hear my dog barking there in the background. I'm looking, yeah, it's another dog outside. Total voted by party registration, Democrats, 38.6% of the Democrats have voted in North Carolina so far, and 31.2% of Republicans have voted so far. So still ahead. Now, that's total votes. That's in-person votes and mail-in votes. So let's look at in-person votes. Again, total 38.6 Democratic, 31.2 Republicans. Let's go to in-person votes, and it's going to narrow up. There it is, 36.4 Democrats, 34.4 Republicans. So still looking very good. Still looking very good. And Biden and Cunningham hold slim leads in North Carolina, according to one of the latest polls. Joe Biden and Cal Cunningham both led their Republican rivals by 3 points, according to a New York Times Siena College survey. Perhaps most notably, 64% of respondents said they had already voted. Joe Biden leads Donald Trump by 3 points in North Carolina, a battleground state that Mr. Trump won in 2016. And Cal Cunningham is also, in spite of the late-breaking scandal from Cal Cunningham, which, be honest, who cares about that? It's not important. if Donald Trump's payoffs to porn stars and screwing around on his wife while she's pregnant, just generally screwing around on his wife, if that's not important, this stuff with Cal Cunningham's not important either. So that's the new standard set by conservatives and Republicans and evangelicals. All right. That's the new standard. None of that stuff matters anymore because it didn't matter with Donald Trump. Why should we care if it mattered if a Democrat does it? That's the new standard. All right. Hey, conservatives set the new standard. We're just following it here. But Mr. Biden leads Mr. Trump by 48% to 45% in the survey. Nearly 7 in 10 voters said they had watched the debate. So it's looking good. In the Senate matchup, Mr. Cunningham held a lead of 3 percentage points over Mr. Tillis, 46% to 43%. It's not Mel Tillis. It's not our senator, okay? So that's where we stand right now. It's looking good, all right? But it's not a sure thing. It's not definite. Still got to get out there and vote. Don't leave it up to chance, all right? Hey, guess who is an elector? An Electoral College elector in New York, Hillary Clinton. She's going to be one of the 538 electors in the Electoral College, something that we need to get rid of, and I've talked about before. But in the meantime, we still have an Electoral College, Hillary Clinton. This is not really significant. It doesn't really mean anything, but I thought it was interesting that that Hillary Clinton is actually and is one of the official 538 electors. She says, "I'm an elector in New York. I'm sure I'll get to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in New York, so that's pretty exciting." Clinton has previously called for the abolition of the Electoral College, as have I, where electors directly vote on the president and vice president of the United States. She has advocated for the president to instead be selected based on the U.S. popular vote, which only makes sense. All right. It's logical if you think about it. It should be the popular vote. It should be the people who decide who the president of the United States is, not this weird way of doing this that was put together at the beginning of the country when we had a completely different type of country. I don't think it probably even I don't think it even made sense then, to be honest. It was put together back when only white men who owned land could vote. And it's based on this weird formula that doesn't make sense anymore. It didn't make sense then either. We need to get rid of the Electoral College. The people, we don't elect anything else in this country this way. No other elective office is done this way. All right? Why do we do it for president? It makes no sense whatsoever. Think about this. If we get Joe Biden as president, if we get a Democratic Senate and have a Democratic House, maybe, just maybe, something will come up to where we can change this in this country. I'm not sure exactly what. It will probably have to be a constitutional amendment, I think, to change it. I think that's the only way, but I think it's something we certainly need to look at. It makes no sense to do it any other way. Because it doesn't make any sense, all right? It's illogical. Clinton has called for it. She called for an end of the Electoral College after the 2000 election when Vice President Al Gore won the popular vote but lost the presidency. She said, "I believe strongly that in a democracy, we should respect the will of the people And to me, that means it's time to do away with the Electoral College and move to the popular election of our president. Think about this, all right? Think about this and get on this bandwagon. Let's do something about getting rid of the Electoral College, because land is not more important than people. We elect no other elective office in this country this way, and it makes no sense to do the president this way. All right, what else we got? Oh, this is funny. Did you hear Trump was in Arizona yesterday, and Senator Martha McSally, who is running for senator against Mark Kelly in Arizona and is behind, was rushed onto stage during the Arizona campaign rally. Trump once again demonstrating his disdain for women in particular. I mean, this woman is important to his political well-being, okay? Listen to the way he introduced her in Arizona and trying to rush her onto the stage.
Martha, come up just fast. Quick. Fast. Fast, come on, quick. You got 1 minute. 1 minute, Martha's sake. They don't want to hear this, Martha. Come on, let's go. Quick. Come on, let's go.
All right. I'm coming. Thank you, President Trump.
That was so disrespectful. If I was Martha McSally, I think I would have shot him the finger from off stage and mouthed F you to him. All right. That was so disrespectful of what he did to her. But hey, that's what you get when you support Donald Trump. All right. Here's a story that I thought was very interesting. VMI, this just came out today. VMI, Virginia Military Institute, has voted to remove Stonewall Jackson statue amid racism accusations by black cadets. We've never really talked about it on this show, but I think we need to get rid of all of the Confederate monuments. It makes no sense at all to be celebrating Confederate soldiers, Confederate generals, the Confederacy period. These people were traitors. All right. These people were traitors to our country. Why should we celebrate them? Why should we honor them? It makes no sense. It's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense that we do, you know. But they voted to remove that statue of Stonewall Jackson. Stonewall Jackson was a slave owner. He taught at the school before helping to lead the Confederate Army. And get this, up until a few years ago, students at Virginia Military Institute had to salute the statue of Stonewall Jackson when they went past it. That is astounding. Why would you need to, who thought up that idea? Saluting the statue of Stonewall Jackson. This year, Black alumni launched a campaign to remove the Jackson statue. It was led by Caleb Tucker, who was a starting cornerback on VMI's football team before graduating in May. Created a change.org position asking the school to acknowledge the racism and black prejudice that still occurs at VMI and to tear down the Jackson statue. So it's coming down. Also the VMI superintendent retired. He resigned yesterday in the wake of the controversy. This is amazing. Why we still have these Confederate statues up. I remember years ago there was a Confederate statue in downtown Reidsville, North Carolina. I'm originally from Eden, so I would go to Reidsville a lot, and it was in the middle of the of downtown in like a traffic circle. big Confederate statue. And I remember even as a kid looking at that and wondering why. Why is there a Confederate statue? Now, several years ago, I think it was back in 2011, maybe before that, a driver fell asleep or something, ran into the pedestal holding that statue up. The statue fell over and broke, and they didn't replace it there. I think they replaced it someplace else in Reedsville. But anyway, that's just something I remember. Here's the latest. Before we go, want to give the latest on the COVID cases in Greensboro, Guilford County, North Carolina. Number of North Carolina cases, according to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, 2,885 new cases as of 11 a.m. today. The cumulative total is 269,021. In Guilford County, two different official accounts of our COVID-19 numbers. According to state health officials, there were 205 new cases reported today and one new death. That brings the case total to 11,581. And according to the latest information from the Guilford County Department of Public Health, there have been 11,181 cumulative cases. So that's a little less than what the state is saying. But that is where, excuse me, I've got to drink some of my tea here. Excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. I had to do that. So be careful out there, all right? Wear a mask. Be careful. Don't listen to Donald Trump. Wear a mask. Don't listen to Donald Trump about anything. And vote for Joe Biden. Let's get rid of Donald Trump. A week from today, hopefully, we're going to have an entirely new country here. We'll see. But get out there and be careful. Wear a mask and make sure you vote. And if you haven't voted yet, make plans to do so. If you have voted, try to help somebody else vote. If you have a mail-in ballot, don't mail it in. Drop it off at an early voting site or at the Board of Elections office. Thanks for joining us. I am Dennis Elliott. This is the Papa Dennis Show, and I appreciate you guys being here. Goodbye.